This lesson is over subtraction of integers. So when we are subtracting with integers, or any number for that matter, the subtraction sign actually means add the opposite of. Meaning, you're going to keep the first number the same, and when you see a subtraction sign, you're going to add instead of subtract the opposite of whatever the second number is. If it's positive, then make it negative. If it's negative, then make it positive. And now you'll have an addition problem, and that's what we did yesterday. So our first example is negative 6 minus 2. A negative 6 minus 2, we're going to keep the negative 6 the same. So leave this right here. Add, so we're changing this subtraction sign to an addition sign. And we're going to add the opposite of positive 2. So we change that subtraction sign to an addition sign, which means that that's a positive 2, and we're going to change it to a negative 2. So if we change it to a negative 2, now we have negative 6 plus negative 2, which as you learned from yesterday means that you owe somebody $6 and you owe somebody $2. Therefore, you owe them total oops, hit the wrong button there. So you owe them total negative $8. I don't know why that's not working. Okay, let me just delete that. I'll go up here and do it this way. Negative $8. Example 2, we are going to keep 5 the same. We are going to add, so this is going to be 5 plus, this is a negative 1, so we're going to change that negative to a positive. And now we have a paycheck of $5, a paycheck of $1, which gives us $6 total. And we still have that money, so it's positive. Next, we have 8. We have 8, and we're going to change that subtraction to an addition. And since we are changing that subtraction sign, there's not another negative there, which means that's a positive 13. So we're going to change that positive 13 to a negative 13. So let me fill in my little thing here. I'm going to keep my 8. I'm going to add the opposite of 13. So that means I'm going to change 13 to negative 13. And again, from yesterday, that means that we have an $8 paycheck and we owe somebody $13, which means we are going to end up owing, what's 13 minus 8? 5. We're going to end up owing $5. Next, we have negative 10 minus 7. So we are going to keep the negative 10. We are going to add the opposite of, this is a positive 7, which means we are going to change positive 7 to negative 7. So that means I have negative 10 add negative 7, which means I owe somebody $10 and I owe somebody $7, which means I owe $17 in all. We'll try a couple more. We have keep our positive 9. We are adding the opposite of positive 15. Now again, I know that's a positive 15 because when I change this subtraction sign, there isn't another negative here. So I'm going to change that positive 15 to a negative 15, which means I have 9 plus negative 15. And paycheck of 9, owing somebody 15. You do not have enough to pay your debt, which means you still owe $6. Next example, I am going to keep my 0. I'm going to add the opposite of that's a positive 15. See, the subtraction sign is a subtraction sign. There would have to be another negative here for that to be a negative 15. So 15, negative 15, which means I've got 0 plus a negative 15. You got no money on your paycheck and you owe $15. That means you're still in debt for 15. Couple word problems. We have a chart here, talks about our state, our lowest elevation, and our highest elevation. And then it gives us some numbers in these different states. So the example says, what is the difference between the highest elevation in Texas, highest, and the lowest elevation in Louisiana? So I'm going to take out my highlighter here real quick. And the lowest, sorry, we're doing the highest elevation in Texas and the lowest elevation in Louisiana. Now, whenever you're doing these, you're always going to want to do the big number minus the small number, always. So the biggest number is 8749. The smaller number is -8. Obviously, because it's a negative, it has to be smaller. So that's going to be 8749 minus a -8. So when I do keep, I'm adding the opposite of. Then that gives me 7 for my last number, carry my 1, 5, 7, 8. So that's 8,757 feet. Please do not forget your labels. We do take off points for that every time. Then it says, find the difference between the lowest elevation in New Mexico and the lowest elevation in California. So I'm going to get out my highlighter again, but I'm going to use a different color. Lowest elevation in New Mexico. That would be this one. And the lowest elevation in California. So we're doing those two. So again, the positive one is going to be bigger. So let me go back and make sure I got my black pen on. So find the difference. I'm going to put the big number minus the small number. Now guys, if you mix this order up, what's going to end up happening is you're going to get the same number, but you're going to get a different sign. And with that different sign, it's going to technically be incorrect, because when we're talking about the difference between two elevations, we're saying how far is it from here to here? How far is it from 2,842 to -282? Move that over here. Go away. -282. So what that means is at some point in here, we're crossing 0, and the distance between here is going to be a certain number. And we want that number to be positive, because when we talk about distance, we talk about it being positive, which is exactly why we do high minus low. So 2842 is what I'm keeping. Here's my subtraction sign that I'm changing to addition. This is a negative. See how there's two negatives there? That's how I know that this is a subtraction sign and this is a negative sign. So 282. And then I need to add these numbers together. So 4, 8 and 4 is 12. Carry my 1. 8 and 2 is 10 plus my 1. That's 11. So I got to carry another 1, which gives me 3,124 feet. The temperatures on the moon vary from -173 degrees Celsius to 127 degrees Celsius. Again, we are going to find the difference in those temperatures. So anytime it's asking for the difference, it's really asking for that distance between them. So that tells us that we've got to do 127 minus 173, because you're always going to do high minus low. So 127 gets to always stay the same. That's the subtraction sign, so it needs to become a positive, or sorry, an addition. And this is a negative, so it becomes a positive. Add the opposite. When I add these two together, 7 and 3 is 10, carry my 1. 7 and 2 is 9, plus the 1 that I carried is also a 0, carry that 1. And 1, 2, and 3, that's going to give me 300 degrees Celsius is the difference between there. Ooh, that's a bad box. All right, so that's it for today. Addition and subtraction of integers. Please look back at the addition part if you are struggling with that. And just remember, for subtraction of integers, add the opposite.